Peace, family. 19 Keys tapping in with you. How we feeling? How we feeling? Let's get to it. Peace to you, Joe. What's the current curiosity that you have right now in the world? But peace to the family. What's the current thing we working on right now? I want to know with y'all. I've been in the lab getting to it over this last few days after traveling a whole lot. You feel me? A whole lot. When am I coming to Chicago? Inshallah soon. I want to do something with my brother Golden Child out there. Crypto meeting today at the White House. It don't really matter to me. I'm at this stage when we look at State of the Union, man. The crypto take. It's the same thing, man. Listen, when I put out maybe in December, January, I put out about like 10 really good videos that explain what's to come, right? The reality of it is I don't need to constantly look at the news. I think the news is just distracting and it gives you a skewed view of the world. You feel me? When you view the world through the news, right? It has your emotions jumping up and down, right? And your view of the world can be positive one day and negative the next day based on what information you're being fed. The crypto thesis has been the same. We already talked about the crypto reserve. We talked about this Trump administration. So far, none of my predictions have fell flat. So I don't need the news to validate me, right? What we said was going to happen is happening, right? This reality of what we think is going to be, it is. So whether they're doing a crypto seminar, what else you would think was going to happen, right? The State of the Union by Trump, nothing is surprising in any of these elements that's going on right now. So far, everything is going by the playbook, and the thesis is holding very strong, right? What happens is a lot of times we're thinking about, but right now people are looking for too many day-to-day things, right? You don't want day-to-day, you don't want to be day-to-day trading your attention, right, on ideas that's coming in and out. Your goal is having a philosophy, right? Having a thesis on what this year means, right? What do I think is the state of cryptocurrency? We already talked about what's going to happen this year. It's the same thing. Stay in position, hold tight in your plays, understand tokenomics. The bigger opportunity is creating your own, right? I think that every brand should have their own meme coin, right? That's maybe not something a lot of people say or understand. But I do. Why? Because I think the regulatory scrutiny is not there. It's essentially seen as a digital collectible, the same way NFTs were. And I believe that people can utilize that to fund ideas much faster. And I think that this is an opportunity that a lot of people are not taking advantage of. Then we have the political cycle. Democrats are going to do what they're going to do. They're making funny, weird videos, laughing, trying to figure out how to get their constituency back, right? And they're going to be struggling over the next 4 years for a while. And we're going to figure that out as it comes along. You have nationalism, right? Hyper-nationalism, where you have everything being focused on America. And so Donald Trump is playing a game that he already knew because he made promises to a lot of different people. And he's trying to live up to those promises to everybody that he has to pay off. And then he has donors that you don't know, and you don't know what their agenda is. Of course, you have Netanyahu, right, who's pulling strings on his end. There's a lot of different players that's going on. I know a lot of these things, but I don't think the average person needs to be hyper aware of all of this, because what it's going to do is it's going to steal your focus. It's going to steal your focus from you actually being able to pay attention and concentrate on your life. When I ask people to, for Q&A sessions, unfortunately, not enough people ask me questions about their own life. They start asking me questions about the world. Not about your business, your podcast, your brand, right? How you develop a greater mind. We start asking questions about the world. Knowing more about the world doesn't change your life. Knowing more about yourself does. Right? And when you know yourself, then you know the world. You know why you interact, how you interact with things, and things stop controlling you. So I want us to think about that. Take that in for a second. Over the last few days, and I'll answer your question. Thank you. Say, how many books do I read per year? I actually have to go over my stats. You know, a lot of people, they get their stats on how much music you listen to. I think I listen to more books than I listen to music. And I have that stat somewhere. I don't have it on me right now. But I'm currently reading a few books right now at the same time. I don't know how many, maybe 3 to 5 per month. But then on top of that, I might listen to 3 to 5 books, and then I might read 1, 2. Then I might do research, which is more reading and learning, right? I think the idea of just reading the book from front to back as this idea of learning, I don't think that that's learning. When it's shown that when you can interact with multiple senses, it's better learning experience, right? So that when you are viewing something and reading, right, it's interacting with multiple areas of the brain. So it makes it a more immersive experience. And it stimulates you better. So I do research, and sometimes the research is not stimulating enough, because if we take the word boring out and you add the word stimulating, or boring can be another word for peace. So, you know, some of the stuff that I've been studying this week is about some of the neuroscience around small talk and the philosophy around small talk, and how high-level conversation stimulates the brain. And not specifically just high-level conversation, but emotional intelligence of that, you know, and socialization, and, you know, how it shifts thought patterns and things of that nature. Where it's shown that, you know, having a high-level conversation with someone for 10 minutes, right, stimulates social awareness, memory, and other faculties of the brain. And that's even better than a lot of different other exercises that you can do. And this is a test that was done on college students, right, before they gave them a test. So I've been going in sort of the nuance of how corporations are changing a lot of different structures, because did you know, and we have put it like this, did you know that like a lot of corporate and technology companies, what they're doing is they're hiring philosophers, right? And I thought that this was super interesting, right? Why are you hiring philosophers? And philosophy is the art of thinking. It's getting to the root of things, right? It's thinking about the very nature of things. And consumption patterns have changed in human beings, right? We essentially already have the things that we need. So we're not buying based on needs, right? We now have more desires, and we need more connection points, right? So when you're thinking about how to increase sales, you're not going to be thinking about it just from creating more content, right? Or selling the value of the product, selling the values of the product. So this is some things that we are restarting. I'm going to call it a restart and a refresh for all those who are in the Master Society. You all, of course, continue to be in it for the rest of the year. And I've been traveling so much that I haven't been consistent. So now that I get home, we're mapping out a schedule to make sure that we're consistent with the coaching, right? And so what you realize is that if you're going to teach like AI, artificial intelligence, it's not the actual tech skills that you need. And this seems counterintuitive, but it's actually the human skills that you need to develop. So if you want to get better in a more technological world, you actually have to get better at being human, right? And most people don't think of it like that, right? So you want people that don't come from that tech world in a way, that can think about things in a completely different way. Because if you have the technology that already does all those things, that's not what you need the human for. So as a philosopher coming into your business, they're looking at the nature of things and how it works, right? So, and I'm adjusting that as I'm working with my company right now, Supermind, right? A lot of you all know we have Supermind chocolates, right? And we have coffees, we have gummies. And every one of the products is about stimulating brain, right? But as I've been thinking through this, I'm like, all right, what is the heart of that? Where does that really get to? What are people looking for? I think ultimately, when people take in like nootropics and people drink coffee, number one, people are looking for energy. But what is energy, right? Energy is a form of money. You know what I'm saying? When you have no energy, you feel broke, meaning that you can have higher thoughts, higher faculties. And what does this get you? It gets you better, social skills when you have higher energy. You can think better. So essentially, we drink coffee, right, to not only do our work better, but to feel better while we do the work. And also, we want to feel better so that other people feel better about us. Because when we have energy and it's infectious, people feel better about you. We don't like being around a low energy person. They have bad attitudes. So getting into the heart of that, it's like, all right, do we build our marketing around selling people the ideas of coffee? Or do we build it around that you are going to have a better social relationships and people are going to feel better about you, right? Now that your brain is working, now that your memory is better, right? You remember tasks more, right? You remember people's birthdays more, right? So you become a better human being when your memory is sharper. That's getting to like the heart of the company of what we're selling as connection points, not just another cup of coffee. We're selling a better relationship with the world. So that is like getting into philosophical thinking. Those are not things that a machine would be able to do for you, right? And as someone who has a product, as a business, as an entrepreneur, being able to think in that capacity, just being able to go through that thought process, those are the keys right now, right? Then, and I talk about this in a book that I'm writing, and it's almost complete. We talk about philosophical meetings. When you're meeting with people, and same thing in relationships, right? Like these are, how do you prompt it to go deeper, right? So you want to start off with something that challenges people's beliefs. So I don't want to start something that is mundane, that doesn't require thinking. I want to prompt a response that requires you to think, and if your beliefs are challenged, right, in that moment, right, you're not able to just stay on one line of thought. So from a philosophical standpoint, right, creating these philosophy meetings, even with family, I think is key. And asking about, challenging ideas about what we see in the world or the system or within ourselves, things that make us think about the core of our own values. And what this does as well is allows people to be more authentic.